Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have had a development that Daniel Ginchard will not be starting on the front row of the grid. For those watching at home on the live stream and also those listening on Downforce Radio, Daniel Ginchard will be starting from the pre-grid. The cart was just trolleyed off of the front row. He would have been sitting alongside Tom Heinertz. So this has changed it ever so slightly, so we will have 25 competitors, but a reshuffle of the order has happened once again, so everyone behind Daniel Ginchard gets promoted one place. So it looks like it will be Heinertz with Van Dijk alongside now, so it is going to be an all-Dutch front row. So we're going to have a very, very interesting race here. So they're now onto the formation lap here itself, and at the tail end of the field. Will be Jeffrey Fixer, but then of course we'll have to wait until things get truly underway. So the rolling start formation lap has very much got on underway. That's very quick work there by Tom Heinertz from GKS to get everyone into formation. He'll need to wait for Danny Van Dijk in the 256 to line up alongside. So a reshuffle here of the order. Or is it going to be the fact that Heinertz will have no one alongside? So they're going to change things about a little bit here. They come into the penultimate corner here at Karting Defagne to get ready to go racing once again for the final time here after a slight red flag delay. So Heinertz will control the pace from the front row on his own. So there is going to be a gap for Marlon Coppins in the 244 alongside. Let's see what happens in Junior Max for the final time here at Mariembourg in Karting Defagne. We go lights out. Danny Van... Right, okay, so we're going to have... quite a few other changes here as well, because Chris Harnan, I think, has just jumped up into third. Maurice Schuring is behind Marlon Coppins. Now, I'm just trying to see where Mike Van Voot is. He's actually made up some places. Here comes Daniel Ginchard, quite a length behind, way behind the rest of the field. Oh, and we've had someone having to recover, and that is, I can't make out who that is quite yet. And that person's just been overtaken. That looks to be Flint Schuring in the 219. That is the case. Not very happy. Probably might have just dropped one wheel on the grass and sent him spinning. And Tom Heinertz is not leading because Chris Harnan's in the lead now. So having got up from... and there is more drama down at the tail end of the field. So another driver not having the best run of luck here. Can't really make out the livery. It looks either it's going to be Coles Racing or it's going to be JJ Racing. Can't really make it out from my position at the moment. But Chris Harnan leads from Tom Heinertz, Marlon Coppins, Flint Schuring. Looks like Lars Zaynen's got up into the top 5 too. Callum Voisin up into 6th. Jules Castro 7th. Tom Braken now up into 8th position. Christian Decline and also Summer Webb complete the top 10 at the moment. And there is an absolute train of karts. And there is one very noisy exhaust there as well. And that looks to be Daniel Ginchard. That's the noise where it's emanating from, so that's going to be an instant mechanical black flag. We've had that earlier this weekend. Matthias van Gotham had that in one of the finals earlier on this weekend. But Heinertz retakes the lead back from Chris Harnan. Harnan's not going to rest on his laurels, I can guarantee you that much. But there is still plenty of this race still to go here. So, at the moment, it is Tom Heinertz leading from Chris Harnan. And we've also had, now that's Jules Castro getting past Lars Zaynen through on the inside of turn number 3 there. And he's just signalled back to Lars saying, right, let's go up for the for those 4 in front. So Kai Hillitz now hits the top 10 in 10th position on the 274 CRG chassis. Tom Braken up into 7th, past Callum Voisin. Mike Van Voot already up into 13th and climbing. The 201 is flying at the moment in the JJ Racing cart at the moment. So let's see. Up ahead, he has got quite a few drivers in front of him, but that's really going to change how... so Van Vugt is going to go full guns blazing and attack at everybody in front. Behind him, it looks to be Matthew Higgins in the 275. And then you've also got the 252 of Summer Webb. So at the front of the field, it is still Tom Heinitz continuing to lead, having retaken back the position from the very hard-charging Chris Hartman, who started 5th. Mylan Coppens in 3rd place. So at the moment we have 9 minutes and 17 seconds on the clock left to go, still in this particular race. Van Vugt now up into 11th past Summer Webb. And it's really getting dicey out there. Looks like Maurice Shearing went up the inside of Mylan Coppens to take through turn 3. Right in the back bumper of them is now Jules Castro from GKS. Lars Zanen in 6th place. So it's still really getting very, very hefty at the top of the field. And there is a couple of penalties now being issued. 2:16, Flint Shearing, time penalty of 3 seconds. 2:19, Sam Bergstein, also 3-second penalty for leaving the track with 2 wheels off it. So yellow flags, and there has been someone off at just off of what was effectively turn number 9. Looks to be a CRG chassis by my reckoning. But Chris Hartman again retakes the lead from Tom Heinitz. So it is Coles Racing versus GKS here at Mariembourg. And I tell you what, Mylan Coppens was looking really racy, looking up the inside of JJ Racing's Maurice Shearing. Jules Castro in the meantime pounces and takes 4th. Has to go a little bit wide, goes on the defensive, try and squeeze the door closed in front of Mylan Coppens. Lars Zanen pounces, goes towards around the outside, heading to the top part of the track on the other side of it. But that was great work there by Jules Castro. Absolutely nailed it up the inside of Mylan Coppens. Great work from the 206. So the running order, well, we've had a couple of unfortunate retirees. We've had Bart de Witt. That looks to be the 226. Tom Adams is out as well. Flint Shearing all the way down in 14th position. But when I tell you this, it's no surprise here. Mike Van Vugt is now in 10th place and getting on with business. He is the fastest driver out there. And he's trying to go up the inside of Callum Boyce, and he makes the move, goes up into 9th place very cleanly. Does the 2:01. Flint Shearing drops down another position. Jeffrey Fixer, Danny Van Dyke and Will Jenkins all gain places. Meanwhile, to the battle at the front of the field, Tom Heinitz is hanging on at the moment in the lead of this race. Behind him is from the Netherlands, from Coles Racing, Chris Hartman. So these two are really, really going at it in terms of trying to maintain the possibility of getting a victory. We are very close to getting to the half-time distance here. 6 minutes 43 plus an additional lap. So the running order at the moment, I'll give you the top 10. Chris Hartman leads from a fraction, well, did lead, but now Tom Heinitz is back in 1st. Chris Hartman in 2nd, Maurice Shearing in 3rd place, Jules Castro 4th. 5th is Mylan Coppens, Lars Zanen and Tom Braken up into 7th position. Callum Boyce up into 8th. Well, actually make that 9th as Mike Van Vugt has been absolutely on a mission. He is now, if I'm going to tell you this, he's going for 5th. He's got it. He's got past Mylan Coppens. My goodness. And now Maurice Shearing looks back and goes, where the heck has Mike come from? He's come from absolutely nowhere. I don't think anyone else can believe this, let alone myself. But Mike Van Vugt has done a 55.786 as his fastest lap of this race. Oh my goodness. Now this is what I'm going to say. If I'm going to give a Driver of the Day award, I will have to give it to that. Well, I'm not just going to give it to Mike Van Vugt, but that is an absolutely barnstorming performance. He's up into 4th. I think the top 3, Jules Castro's really going to have to watch it right now, because here comes the reigning, defending, and points leader, and he goes up the inside cleanly right there, takes it from 206. Mike Van Vugt from literally what was 23rd position, now into 3rd. Now the hunt is really on. He's begging for blood. He's actually baying for it, in fact. Chris Hartman and Tom Heinitz, guys. You better watch it because you're in your exhaust trails. Is the 2:01 of Mike van Vugt. We have 5 minutes plus an additional lap. This is going to really come down to it. It's going to be about how much both Tom Heinertz and Chris Harnon want to hang on to this. And I know that the pair of them will do. Tom's now had a taste of victory. He wants to have that again. Hang on a second. We got yellows off of turn number 1. And someone's off into just off of the barriers there. I'm not too sure who that is. But driver's okay, being assisted. Oh, it's getting very close. Very interesting in the front. As under braking, Mike van Vugt looks a little bit more planted there than Chris Harnon. Again, closes up into the braking zone on turn number 2. And he goes up the inside of Chris Harnon, takes the position from the 264. Now it's game on. Now it's going to be Van Vugt trying to get back past Tom Heinertz. Now, obviously, he took pole for the first final, but came a cropper in turn 2 on the very first lap, cycled all the way down towards the bottom part of the field, and then was taken out, unfortunately. So let's just see. The gap last time around between Tom Heinertz and Chris Harnon when Harnon was in second was just under 2.5 tenths. Let's see what the gap is between Tom Heinertz and Mike van Vugt. Now, Mike van Vugt knows what Tom Heinertz is capable of, and likewise. This is going to be a very interesting battle, but it does also factor in that Chris Harnon could have something to say about it. We've got 3.5 minutes plus an additional lap left to go, and that is Dirk Jansen, I believe, over the other side of the commentary position. So, Heinertz leads by 0.275, but Van Vugt looks really, really measured in the braking. He's really timing the braking to perfection. But Heinertz now knows, because you can probably hear me on the PA, that Mike van Vugt is now his nearest challenger, and Van Vugt is really, really close through turn 6. Now into the left-hander at turn 7. It's not going to be a case of if, it's going to be a case of when Mike van Vugt decides to make that move. There is just under 3 minutes, plus an additional lap. And behind there is an absolute train of karts at the moment. Top 12 being completed by the 275 of Matthew Higgins at the moment. Leaders now coming out of the penultimate turn. Van Vugt is in the tow. Here it comes. Wait for it, ladies and gentlemen. Masterclass from Van Vugt, sends it up the inside cleanly. I have to say on Tom Heinertz, but now Heinertz now knows he's got a target to go for. He's been at the front for the majority of this race. Now he's going to say to Mike van Vugt, you might be leading the points, but you might not be the only, you're not the only race winner this weekend, or even this season thereof. So if he can keep pace, because Heinertz did a 56 flat, Mike van Vugt did a 55.744, so was over 2.5 tenths of a second quicker than the 237 from the Netherlands. At the moment, Chris Harnon completes a Dutch clean sweep on the top 3 in this final. So at the moment, Flint Schuring dropped down to 15th. So Dirk Jansen, Tom Adams and Bart de Wit, unfortunately, no longer taking any part in this race. So Tom and Bart had the collision just off of turn number 9 a bit earlier on. So Tom Heinertz in comparison with Mike van Vugt on time. Let's see what they were. 55.866 from Heinertz, 55.688 from Van Vugt. But it is still all to play for. There is still time. 1 minute, 28 seconds plus an additional lap. The battle behind Jules Castro, who's still sitting in 4th place, is between Maurice Schuring, Martin Coppens and Lars Zanen. That's 2:14, 2:44, 2:97. Tom Braken having a really good showing this time around. Coppens goes up the inside of Schuring and takes the position. And is he gonna get it before the next corner? Here comes Lars Zanen, and Schuring's right back on the offensive going into turn number 8. But Lars Zanen nipped it in the bud right at the nick of time, just before turn 8. Got up the inside of Maurice Schuring and went, right, mine went past, it's my turn. So let's see what happens here. Van Vugt really isn't getting away from Tom Heinertz, I will be completely honest. Castro's had a really good showing this weekend. Nice to see Zanen running in the top 6. So good to see some GKS colours up there, but it is JJ Racing leading the way. But I have to say, though, Tom Heinertz really giving Mike van Vugt something to think about for the rest of this season. We are into the last 30 seconds plus an additional lap here. Tom Heinertz really hustling the 2:37. He was just under 2 tenths behind Mike van Vugt and pretty much comparable on lap time. And he was very happy, as he admitted on Facebook earlier on today, that P won in the first race, and he was looking forward to the race this afternoon. He's had definitely A good showing this weekend. Oh, someone's gone rally crossing off of turn number 4. That's a real shame for whoever that was. It looks like a CRG chassis. Wondering if that might be Bruno Mulders, maybe. But ladies and gentlemen, the time has expired. Final lap board. Who would have thought it? 23rd to first. Mike Van Voot has just over 1,300 metres to go. Tom Reiners in second. Chris Harnan in third. Jules Castro, Mylan Coppens, Lars Zanen, Maurice Schuring, Tom Breken, Callum Voisin, Christian Decline. That completes the top 10. And I tell you what, hang on, is that Matthew Higgins behind Kai Rilletz? That is, and he could be going for it. He's going to go up the inside of the 274 to take 11th. Nice work by Matthew Higgins. That's a really good job there. So this is the final lap of the race. Van Voot and Heinertz haven't really kept they've kept each other within their sights. But Mike Van Voot really has been doing a fantastic job to get himself all the way back up into the lead of this race from 23rd. So through turn 10, through turn 11 for the final time, the penultimate corner beckons for the 201 of Mike Van Voot. Now here we go, ladies and gentlemen. What a start. 23rd to first, and it's going to be victory for Mike Van Voot. What a job. 2 hands off the steering wheel as he crosses the finish line. Knew he had the legs on Heinertz and knew he had the legs on everybody else to get to the finish. But it was just 0.148. If Mike had celebrated a little bit too further earlier, he could have lost out on a drag race. But great job by Tom Heinertz. Well done to Chris Harnan. A Dutch 1, 2, 3 here. So JJ Racing, GKS and Coles Racing occupy the top 3 spots. Then it's a trio of Belgians. Well done to Jules Castro, Mylan Coppens and Lars Zanen for completing the top 6. Maurice Schuring in 7th. Best result on his debut in the BNL Karting Series as a junior max driver. Well done, Tom Breken. 8th position. Callum Voisin and Christian Decline finish the top 10 ahead of Matthew Higgins, who did a great move on Kai Rilletz on the last lap of the race through turn 2, or through turn 3. Danny Van Dyke, Summer Webb and Flint Schuring ran out the top 15. Daniel Ginshard, despite starting from the dummy grid, finished in 16th position ahead of Jeffrey Fixer, Will Jenkins, Axel Hansel, Bruno Mulders, Sam Bergstein and Jamil Rogers being the last of the 22 classified finishers, ahead of Derek Janssen, Tom Adams and Bart DeWitt, with all 3 unfortunately not finishing the race.